It was past midnight when Jackson finally put down his datapad. His room was small, just a single bed, a desk, and a cracked window. Outside, the rain hadn't stopped for hours. The storm made soft tapping sounds against the glass. He had just closed his eyes when click, the door opened. His heart skipped. Nobody should have a key to his room. He sat up slowly, muscles tight, pulse racing. The light from the hallway spilled in, but no footsteps came. Then she entered. She wasn't human. Jackson blinked in shock as the figure stepped inside, closing the door gently behind her. Wet hair stuck to her face, her skin glowing faintly blue under the dim light. Her eyes were large, violet, and full of fear. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I had no choice. Please, can I sleep here tonight?" Jackson stared, completely frozen. His brain tried to catch up. The girl wasn't armed. She looked young, maybe his age, 19. Her clothes were strange, like fabric molded to her body, torn in places, and soaked from the rain. "Who are you?" he asked quietly. She looked down. "Zaya." He could barely hear her over the pounding rain outside. "I didn't mean to scare you," she said. She paused, biting her lip. "I had nowhere else to go. I was being followed." Jackson stood from his bed, still cautious. "Followed by who?" She looked at him, and for a moment, her glowing eyes shimmered with something deeper, fear mixed with exhaustion. "People who want to sell me, or kill me, maybe both." Jackson didn't know whether to believe her, but she looked cold, and scared, and lost. You can sit," he said finally, motioning toward the corner of his bed. "But just for a while," she smiled faintly. "Thank you." She stepped forward, and he noticed something strange. Her feet were bare, but didn't make a sound on the floor. Her skin wasn't just blue. It shimmered like it had stars under it. Tiny lights moved beneath her skin, glowing softly, like a sky trapped in her body. She sat, shivering. Jackson grabbed his spare blanket and handed it to her. "Why my room?" he asked. "Why me?" Zaya hugged the blanket around herself and looked at him with wide, honest eyes. "Because your light was off." He blinked. "What?" "All the other rooms had light. You were the only one, invisible, hidden." She glanced at the window. "I thought I'd be safe here. Just for tonight." Jackson didn't say anything. He sat back down on the edge of the bed, keeping his distance. For a while, silence filled the room, only the sound of rain, distant thunder. Zaya leaned back slowly against the wall, her head tilted, eyes slowly closing. She looked fragile, like she hadn't slept in days. Then suddenly, beep, a red light blinked from under her suit. Jackson's eyes went wide. "What was that?" Zaya gasped, pulled something small from inside her clothing, a round metallic disc blinking red. No, no, no. She tried to press buttons on it, but it was too late. Outside the window, a strange mechanical whirring sound filled the air. "What's going on?" Jackson asked, panicked. "They found me," Zaya cried. "That was a tracker. I thought I broke it. Who's they?" But before she could answer, a flash of blue light filled the sky. Something not human hovered outside the window. A dark figure, metallic, with a single red eye glowing. Zaya grabbed Jackson's arm. "Please, don't let them take me." Jackson didn't know what he was doing, didn't know why. But something in her voice, her face made him nod. He stood up, grabbed the device from her hand, and threw it at the wall. It shattered. The red light vanished. The figure outside paused, scanning. Then it turned, disappearing into the storm. Jackson slowly sat down again, breathing hard. Zaya looked at him with something new in her eyes. Hope. He looked back at her. "Get some rest," he said softly. "You're safe for now." She didn't reply. She just closed her eyes and leaned gently against his shoulder. Jackson didn't sleep. Zaya rested quietly against his shoulder, her body warm and still slightly glowing. Under the blanket, But Jackson's eyes stayed fixed on the broken tracker lying on the floor. Then he saw it. Second light. Faint. Red. Blinking slowly. Under his bed, another tracker. He moved without waking her, crouched low, and carefully pulled the small device. From under the frame, it wasn't broken. It wasn't hers. It was new. Jackson's breath caught. They planted another one. He grabbed the tracker and wrapped it in a towel to block the signal, then stuffed it inside his desk drawer. His mind was racing. Who was she really? He turned to look at her. Zaya's face was soft in sleep, but her eyes weren't human. Even closed, her eyelids shimmered like the surface of water. And her skin, those tiny glowing particles, they moved. Constantly. No human ever looked like that. No registered alien either. The next morning, she opened her eyes and smiled faintly. "You didn't sleep?" "No," he said flatly. "You had 2 trackers, not one." She sat up instantly, alarmed. "What? No, I only had the one in my suit." "Well, someone placed another under my bed," Jackson said. "And that means either they followed you all the way here, or you're not telling me everything." She looked away. Silenced. Then, after a long pause, she spoke. "I'm not in any database." "What do you mean?" "I mean, I don't exist. Not to your systems, not to anyone. You're undocumented?" "I'm unrecognized." She looked at him. "I'm not just from a hidden species. My entire bloodline was erased. Our race was removed from galactic records. We're not just hunted. We single quotes deleted." Jackson frowned. "How's that possible?" Zaya hesitated, then pulled back her sleeve. He saw a long scar along her wrist. Not a wound, more like a burn. But it wasn't normal. From under her skin, tiny blue threads pulsed with light. Like a living circuit. Her veins weren't red. They were glowing. "My people were made," she said. "Grown. Engineered in secret. Then one day, they shut us down, destroyed the lab, hunted the survivors." Jackson blinked. "You're artificial?" She looked at him hurt. "I'm alive, I think. I feel. I bleed. I just wasn't born the normal way." He didn't know what to say. Zaya pulled her sleeve back down. "I'm not here to hurt you. I just needed shelter, one night. But now, they've probably marked you too." He nodded. "Too late now." She bit her lip. "You could still report me. They'll pay you." Jackson narrowed his eyes. "Do I look like that kind of person?" Zaya smiled softly. "I didn't think so. That's why I picked you." He paused. "You picked me?" Zaya nodded. "I saw your file. Quiet. No parents. Living alone. No friends. No visitors. You were perfect." Jackson's jaw clenched. "So you used me." "I trusted you," she said. "That's different." Later that afternoon, Jackson tried to go about his day classes, labs, lunch. But he couldn't focus. He kept thinking about Zaya, sitting alone in his room, hiding. He walked back quickly, heart pounding. The door was locked. "Lights off, Zaya?" he whispered as he stepped inside. She was sitting on his bed, holding his old Earth map in her hands. Her glowing eyes scanned it slowly, like it was a lost treasure. "Your planet is beautiful," she said. "Messy but beautiful." "You shouldn't be out in the open," he replied. "If anyone sees you, no one did." "I scanned the building." He stared at her. "You have tech in your body?" "I am tech," she whispered. That's when she reached up to her neck and pulled out a small circular disc hidden under her collar. She placed it in his hand. "What's this?" "A memory core," she said. "It contains everything. Who I am, who my creators were, why they want me dead." He looked at the disc, surprised at how warm it was. "Why give this to me?" Zaya looked into his eyes. "Because I don't know how long I'll survive. But if I disappear, someone has to tell the truth." Jackson stared at her, heart pounding. Before he could speak, boom, the window cracked. The lights flickered. Something heavy landed on the rooftop. They both looked up. Zeiu whispered, voice trembling. They found me. Cliffhanger ending. Outside. A black drone hovered, not a patrol unit. This one had a skull painted on it, and it was scanning for a target. Jackson had one rule in life. No one touches his toothbrush. So when he entered his bathroom and saw Zaya brushing her teeth with his toothbrush, he just stared. She turned, foam dripping from her lips, and grinned. This tool is amazing. It tickles my tongue. Jackson blinked. That's not what it's for. Zaya looked confused, then slowly spit into the sink like she'd seen in one of his Earth hygiene videos. Why do you humans keep so many tiny brushes in one room? That was my only toothbrush. Oh, she tilted her head. Then we shared? Jackson groaned and walked away. It had been 24 hours since the drone attack. They managed to trick it with an old power inverter Zaya modified into a signal loop. But now they were trapped inside his dorm. Going outside meant getting scanned. Or worse. Zei had started calling herself his roommate. I'm your first, right? She asked while sitting upside down on his couch. My first what? Roommate. Jackson didn't respond. She smiled. You're blushing, human. No, I'm not. And please sit normally. But this way, your world looks more fun. Later that evening, Zaya sat cross-legged on his bed, flipping through his Earth biology textbook. You humans have so many organs, she said. I only have 9. That sounds like plenty. She turned a page. But yours are inefficient. Your blood gets tired. Your skin ages. Your lungs forget to breathe when you sleep. That's just life. Zaya looked up. Your life needs upgrades. She smiled mischievously and added, I can offer a few. Jackson avoided her eyes and focused on his console, pretending to work on a system scan. But her presence was hard to ignore. She moved with silent grace like a dancer, yet somehow made the room feel smaller, warmer, closer. And then she said something he didn't expect. Would it be strange if I asked you to teach me how to be more human? He turned to her. What do you mean? I want to learn how you live, what you feel, why you dream. She leaned forward slightly. Maybe why you blush. His face burned again. Fine, he said. Lesson 1. Personal space. She giggled, actually giggled. That's your rule, not a human rule. But the light moments didn't last. As they talked, the dorm lights flickered again. Jackson stood. Not again. Zaya grabbed a metal chip from her wrist and tapped it. I blocked the last drone's frequency. But if they've upgraded, the door lock clicked. They both froze. Someone was outside. Jackson crept to the door, listening. No voices, no movement. But something was definitely there. Zei whispered. It's not a drone. It's something biological. The air grew thick. Then knocked out a slow, deliberate knock. Followed by a voice. We know she's in there. Open the door, or we open it for you. Zaya's eyes went wide. Her skin began to glow again, particles flickering faster than ever. I can't fight them. Not yet, she whispered. Jackson scanned the room. No weapons, no exits. Just books, clothes, old tech junk. And then it hit him. The old VR rig. He yanked it out of the closet and tossed the helmet at her. Hide in the sim room. If they scan the room, I'll distract them. Zaya hesitated. You'd lie for me? Jackson looked at her, heart pounding. It's what roommates do. She smiled, then vanished into the VR chamber. The door burst open. 2 men walked in. Black coats, no insignias. Their eyes scanned the room coldly. Where is she? One asked. Jackson shrugged. She left. About 10 minutes before you showed up. They moved past him and searched the room. Under the bed. In the closet. In the bathroom where Zaya's toothbrush stunt came back to haunt him. One of them held it up. You share hygiene? Jackson replied. We're close. They stared at him. One raised a small scanning device and waved it toward the VR unit, but just then, the power surged and his scan glitched. Damn blackout. Again, he muttered. They turned to leave. Tell her this, one of them said, pausing at the door. She can run, but eventually, even the quiet humans turn her in. And they left. Zei emerged from the VR chamber after they were gone. You lead for me, she whispered. Yeah, and probably ruin my toothbrush for life. She walked over slowly, looking him in the eyes. Then I owe you more than just thanks. He raised an eyebrow. Like what? She leaned in close. I'll be the best roommate you ever had. Cliffhanger ending. That night, as they both drifted off, Zaya whispered, tomorrow I want to learn how humans love. And outside, a new drone silently docked to their window. It wasn't searching anymore. It was watching. Asterisk. The room was quiet. Too quiet. Jackson woke to a sharp buzzing sound. Like a fly but deeper. Mechanical. He sat up slowly, his chest tight. The window was still shut. Zaya was curled up near the wall, her chest rising and falling gently under the blanket. But the sound grew louder. He moved toward the window and pulled the curtain and froze, hovering just outside the glass. Barely a foot away was a tall black drone. But this wasn't like the Scout from before. This one was built like a humanoid. Its face was a sleek, curved metal plate. No eyes, no mouth. Just a glowing red slit across where a face should be. It tilted its head. Then slammed out. The window cracked. Under the force of its fist, Jackson stumbled back. Zaya, wake up. She sat up fast, already alert. Her glowing eyes locked onto the drone. That's not a seeker, she whispered. Jackson backed up. Then what is it? She stood slowly, face pale. That's a hunter. They don't scan. They don't ask. They kill. The hunter raised its arm. Something sharp clicked into place. A blade. No bullets, no beams. Just cold, silent steel. Zaya stepped forward. We have to leave now. There's no time. Jackson yelled. The hallway's full of cameras. She didn't reply. Instead, she walked to the window, calm, graceful, and stared at the hunter. Remember me? She said. It stopped, then raised its hand toward the glass again. Zaya lifted both palms. Her skin glowing bright white now, like a supernova trapped in flesh. Jackson had never seen anything like it. She was burning. Then, boom, a pulse of light exploded from her chest. The glass shattered. The drone was flung back into the air like a paper toy. She collapsed. Jackson rushed forward and caught her before she hit the floor. Her body was hot. Too hot. She was barely conscious. I used too much. I need a recharge. How? He asked. Panicking, touch, human energy, emotional contact, anything. Jackson stared at her, completely unsure. Zaya's eyes flickered weakly. Please. He took her hand and pressed it between both of his. Her body absorbed the warmth instantly. The glowing particles in her skin slowly started to move again. Not as bright, but alive, she whispered. Better. But before he could breathe a sigh of relief, a loud thud hit the hallway outside the dorm. Something heavy. And walking. The real hunter had arrived. Jackson locked the door, braced it with the desk, and dragged Zaya behind the couch. Her energy was unstable. She couldn't fight again so soon. Stay here, he said. What are you going to do? She whispered. I don't know yet. There was no weapon. No plan. Just panic. Then he remembered something. The old EMP grenade in his tech junk drawer. Broken, useless, but maybe. Nat. He ran to the desk, pulled it out, and grabbed a wire from his laptop. With shaking hands he rewired the capacitor, guessing no, hoping he'd seen the right video on how to trigger a manual pulse. Boom. The hallway door exploded open. Jackson barely had seconds. The hunter stepped into the room. 7 feet tall, metal body pulsing with red lines. Its head slowly turned to scan the room. Then it locked on Zaya. Target confirmed. Jackson stood between them. Heart racing. "Step aside," the hunter said. Its voice was cold, flat. No emotion, no hesitation. Jackson held up the grenade. "One step closer, and we both fry." The hunter paused, calculating. EMP grenade model 2A, incomplete. Threat level, 2%. Jackson smiled. "Yeah? Then bet your circuits on it." He pressed the wire together. Zap. A flash of blue energy burst out, small, unstable, but enough. The lights blinked. The hunter staggered. Sparks flew from its head. Its red glow dimmed. Then dash crashed. It collapsed. Jackson stood there, panting. The smell of burning wires filled the air. Behind him, Zaya slowly stood up. You fought a hunter," she said softly. Jackson turned to her, trembling. "You owe me a new door." She smiled. Then with trembling arms, she hugged him. Not for survival, but gratitude, for the first time since she arrived. She felt safe, even if only for one more night. Cliffhanger ending. As the EMP died down, the hunter's body began twitching. Its chest panel opened, and inside, a live tracker pulsed green, and this one was broadcasting. Jackson had never seen her bleed before. Now he couldn't look away. A shallow cut ran down Zaya's arm, where one of the hunter's shattered blades had grazed her. But what spilled out wasn't blood. It was light, golden, soft, and almost alive. Tiny glowing threads weaved through her flesh like circuitry mixed with stardust. The wound slowly sealed itself, the skin knitting back together like it was remembering how to be whole. She sat silently back against the wall, watching his reaction. "You're not scared?" she asked. Jackson shook his head, still staring. "Should I be?" Zaya looked down. Most people would be. He moved closer, sat beside her, and said nothing for a while. The silence wasn't empty. It was full of questions he couldn't form, and truth she hadn't shared yet. She finally broke it. "You want to know what I am?" "Yes," he whispered. She didn't hesitate. "I'm not just a created being," she said softly. "I'm a failed weapon." Jackson turned toward her, brows furrowed. "My creators were building soldiers, biological AI. But something went wrong. I learned too fast, felt too deeply. I started asking questions. About what? Love, choice, pain. I wasn't supposed to feel, but I did. That made me defective." She touched her chest. "So they marked me for disposal." Jackson looked at her, stunned. "That's why they're hunting you." She nodded. "They don't want people like me proving that their weapons could evolve." Jackson leaned in. "But you're not a weapon now." Zaya gave a sad smile. "A loaded gun is still dangerous, even if no one's holding it." Later that night, Jackson noticed something strange. The more time Zaya spent around him, the more her skin began to shift. Not just glowing, but changing color slightly, adapting, softening. He asked her about it. "My body adjusts to emotional frequencies," she explained. "Humans give off something unique. Your heartbeat, your breath, your intentions, they shape my energy." "That's beautiful and creepy," she giggled. "I know." Then she did something unexpected. She reached out and touched his face. Not in a romantic way. Not yet. More like a scientist meeting a miracle. "You're different," she said. "How?" "You don't see me as broken." "Because you're not," he said. She leaned in closer. "Then why are you so alone?" Jackson blinked. "What?" "I scanned your room. No family logs, no regular calls, no past visitors. Just quiet." He looked down. "People don't stick around." "I guess I got used to it." Zaya tilted her head. "Do you want me to leave?" "No," he said immediately. She smiled. Then her body flinched suddenly, violently. She gasped and fell to her knees, gripping her chest. Jackson rushed to her. "What's happening?" My core, it's destabilizing. The hunter's weapon, it wasn't just a blade. It had a disruptor spike. He caught her before she collapsed fully. Her skin flickered between colors, white, blue, gold, red. I need emotional stabilization, she whispered. Human connection, intimacy, or I'll burn out. Jackson's face flushed. What kind of intimacy? She met his eyes. I'm not asking for that. Just hold me, please. He nodded and pulled her gently into his arms. Her body pulsed like a live wire under his touch, but gradually, the wild energy began to settle. Her breathing slowed. The glow softened, and her voice returned to a whisper. You're calming me, she said. Your touch is like gravity, Jackson chuckled nervously. I've never been compared to a planet before. You're my planet, she murmured. Silence returned. But this time, it was warm. Then knock. Not on the door. From inside the wall. Jackson stood, heart in his throat. What is it now? He whispered. Zei, yes, single quotes. His voice was flat. Another hunter wouldn't knock. The wall creaked, then a panel slid open from behind the bookshelf. A hidden maintenance shaft. A figure crawled out, slim, gray-skinned, sharp eyes. Alien. Male. He stared at Zaya with a strange mix of shock and awe. You're alive, he said. Zaya stood, weak but composed. Kulak, the figure stepped forward. They told me you were terminated. I didn't believe it. Jackson stepped in between them. Who is this? Zaya's expression hardened. My brother. Cliffhanger ending. Kulak looked at Jackson and said, You have no idea what you've done, human. You've just chosen sides in a war that never ended. Asterisk. Kulak's eyes scanned the room like a hunter sharp calculating. Too calm. Jackson didn't trust him. Zaya hugged her arms across her chest, visibly torn. You shouldn't be here, she said quietly. I came because of the signal, Kulak replied. You used a core pulse. Only one of our kind could feel it. That pulse nearly killed me, she said. I wasn't calling anyone. Kulak stepped closer. And yet, here I am. Jackson moved between them. You've got about 2 seconds to explain what you want. Kulak smirked, typical human. So quick to protect what's not yours. Zaya's glow flickered with tension. Kulak, please. He saved my life, twice. Kulak paused. Then he's a fool. Or he's in love. Neither Jackson nor Zaya responded, but the silence spoke for itself. 20 minutes later, the three of them sat around a table lit only by the glow of a portable core crystal. Kulak had unpacked a tiny projector from under his cloak and displayed a rotating model of the local space sector. You're not safe anymore, Kulak said. They activated Level 0 protocol. Zaya frowned. What does that mean? It means you're not just being hunted, he replied. You're being erased. And anyone helping you is marked for destruction. Jackson leaned back. Great. Kulak pointed to a distant blinking dot on the map. There's a smuggler ship leaving Earth orbit in 19 hours. One of my contacts owns it. We get on that ship, we disappear off the grid. Jackson narrowed his eyes. We? Kulak smiled. You're part of this now, human. Whether you like it or not. Zaya sat alone by the window later, the moonlight painting her in soft silver. Jackson joined her, carrying 2 mugs of warm tea. It's not real tea, he said. Just powder and regret, she smiled weakly. Still better than nutrient paste. They sipped in silence. Then she said it. He's not really my brother. Jackson blinked. What? He was one of the first experiments like me. We were grown in the same lab, same batch. He called me sister back then. And now, I don't know who he is anymore. She turned to him, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. You trust too easily, Jackson. He held her gaze. No, I just trust you. Her breath caught for a moment. Then she whispered, That's more dangerous than trusting anyone. Later, Kulak stood alone in the bathroom, staring at himself in the cracked mirror. He pulled a small device from his boot, a communicator, the size of a fingernail. He pressed it once. No words, just a green flash outside the dorm. Far above in the night sky, a black satellite blinked to life. It had found her. Again. Back in the room, Zaya and Jackson were packing. Only essentials. Data chips, clothes, water cells. You don't have to come with me, she said. Jackson didn't answer. She turned to him, her voice softer. You'll lose your future if you go. He nodded. Maybe, but I've never really had one anyway, she smiled. A sad one. Then maybe we can build one together. Suddenly, boom. The power went out. The room fell into darkness. Red emergency lights clicked on a moment later. A siren echoed faintly in the distance, low and haunting. Zaya's eyes glowed brighter now, reading energy in the room. It's not just another blackout, she said. Jackson nodded. They're coming early. Khalek stepped in from the hallway. Calm as ever. They know we're leaving. Jackson grabbed the backpack. We need to move now. Zaya turned to Khalek. How'd they find us so fast? Khalek didn't respond, but Jackson noticed the faint glow on Khalek's boot. Something was blinking, something green. He froze. What is that? Khalek looked down too late. Jackson tackled him to the floor, ripping the device from his boot. Zei, you gasped. Khalek shouted. It's not what it looks like. Jackson held up the tracker. Then explain why this was signaling a satellite. Zaya stepped back, heart pounding. Khalek, did you sell us out? He looked at her with something close to guilt. Not you, he said quietly. Just the human. Cliffhanger ending. Before anyone could move, the wall exploded inward. Metal boots hit the ground. Not drones. Soldiers. And they weren't here to talk. Smoke filled the room. The wall had been blown apart, shards of metal and brick still falling when the soldiers stormed in. No helmets, no hesitation. Their eyes locked on Zaya first. Target acquired. Jackson pulled her behind the desk, heart pounding. We can't stay here. Zaya's skin flickered with defensive light, but she was drained. Not enough energy left to shield both of them. Khalek was gone, vanished in the chaos. Probably escaped through the shaft. Or maybe ran because guilt burns faster than fire. Jackson clenched his jaw. They were on their own. A soldier kicked the door fully open and entered, weapon drawn. Jackson grabbed a metal rod from the desk and swung, catching the man off guard. The hit wasn't clean, but enough to throw him off balance. Zei reached for the fallen soldier's sidearm and fired once. Blue pulse straight to the chest. He dropped. Jackson stared at her. Zaya's hand shook. First time I've used one. He nodded. Good shot. Lucky shot. They didn't have time to argue. The hallway was blocked. The window shattered. Only one path remained up. Through the maintenance hatch Khalek used before. Jackson climbed first, pulling Zaya up behind him. Below, footsteps and shouting echoed closer. They reached the rooftop. Night wind hit their faces, cold, final. Across the rooftop, a small dark shape. A ship. Not big, just enough for two. Khalek's escape route. And standing at the ramp, Khalek himself. Gun lowered. Expression unreadable. Zaya froze. You betrayed us. I gave him a choice, Khalek said, looking at Jackson. Turn you in and walk away free. Jackson stepped forward, between Zaya and the gun. Then you already know my answer. Khalek tilted his head. She's not even real. You're risking your entire life for something built in a tank. She's more human than you'll ever be. Zaya whispered, Jackson, don't. But he didn't back down. Put the gun down, he said to Khalek. Khalek raised it instead. Then fired, but not at them. He turned and shot the wall behind them, destroying the rooftop entrance. The soldiers below screamed as rubble blocked their path. He looked back, tired. That was your warning shot. Now get on the damn ship. They boarded in silence. Inside, the cockpit was already hot, systems buzzing to life. Jackson helped Zaya into a seat and strapped her in. Khalek slid into the pilot's chair. "You two sit tight," he muttered. "We're punching through the lower orbit ring before they figure out the launch," Jackson asked. "Why help us now?" Khalek didn't answer at first. Then, over the hum of rising engines, he said, "Because she's not a failed weapon. She's the proof we weren't a mistake." He looked at Zaya. "Live, for all of us who couldn't." The ship lifted off. Below them, alarms screamed and lights flashed across the city. Beams fired upward, but the ship twisted between them, too fast, too small to lock on. Inside, Jackson held Zaya's hand tight. She was breathing hard, glowing bright again, stabilized, alive. Then she looked at him. "Jackson? Yeah? If we make it out, we will," she smiled. Then, "Can I stay beside you?" He leaned in, forehead resting gently against hers. "Always." In space, the black ship disappeared into a field of stars. Earth faded behind them, freedom ahead. And in the quiet, Zaya closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you for choosing me."